Could not be more excited to wrap up this project and show how things came together in part 2. Whole clan's been chipping in to finish this space. Now, take a look. Recently, an amazing thing happened. Costco slashed the prices for Samsung Qled TVs. Get gone! Just in time for the holidays, mood lighting, shiplap, crown molding, quartz sitting area, wraparound wood mantle on natural Alaskan stone, and the most realistic electric flames, I tell you, from Touchstone Fireplace. Follow along as we pick up where we left off in part 1 with my 4 children doing the legwork. Involve the children, build with them, build that bond, and build their self-confidence. Once the cement board was up, we then tackled crown molding for a 16 feet by 30 feet living space. Kids always ask if they can help, so they willingly do, but no cutting with saw products for the kiddos for good reasons. Always cut crown molding with the top side down. Should have used a jig, but made do with painter's tape and pencil. I used a pencil to mark the depth of the crown on the tape, then placed the crown molding on the line to achieve consistent miter cuts when they butt up. I'm gluing a 16 feet long section together to make 30 feet. Now installing the crown molding. We'll likely need a hand installing crown molding. My oldest at the ready to lend a helping hand. Basically, he's holding the crown molding while I secure it to the stud using brad nails. Then the crew helps fill the nail holes with putty. My middle son is getting ready for a soccer game. This is right before our soccer game. The way they are climbing the ladder looks like worms crawling to the surface. After they're done, I'll go ahead and sand and prep for paint. Then finally comes the paint for the crown and the shiplap. These boards were already primed. Oh man, the difference the brush strokes versus the paint gun makes, it just adds a level of professional quality that paid for itself if hiring someone else to do the work. I barely finished the painting before it got too late in the evening. Then we start gluing up the faux beam wood wraparound mantle using painter's tape. Made easy work of putting this faux beam together. Just added some glue before nailing it. And same process for the other side of the mantle. The process is relatively straightforward. This piece here is for the wraparound mantle. So on the sides, I didn't know initially how this was going to be attached. So now that it fits, I had a Qled pocket hole system, and I thought these would be perfect because instead of using dowels, these are much stronger. Just added some glues. And some cabinetry screws. And this isn't going anywhere. It's pretty solid. Same thing on the other side. I left the side piece out so I can put the pocket screws in, now that the pocket screws were already in. All I had to do was glue it, clamp it, and then using brad nails to secure it in place. Perfect fit. Then we add a coat of min wax. I'm using espresso dark color. Everything on our fireplace is a lot lighter tone, and so I wanted a dark contrast. This certainly fits the bill. Sorry for the poor quality, but I was working into the evening hours. I sanded some rough edges off and ended up doing 3 coats of espresso min wax. And 3 polyurethane coating later, it turned out to be better than I had ever hoped for. Looks like a single solid piece. The joints held by the pocket holes are so strong. This is approximately about 8 feet long. Then ready to place on the supporting stud pieces. Fits like a glove. And I'll secure this with just 3 screws. And the screws are closest to the backer board. That way the stone will cover the screws. My son is about 50 pounds and sitting on the mantle. I don't think there's gonna be anything over 10 pounds sitting on here, but could theoretically hold a large TV. Level as can be. Now the accessory boxes, I stained them dark, the same color as the mantle to match, but also to blend and hide the components that it's holding. Then it was finally time to put that piece of quartz on our hearth sitting area. I didn't want to do separate pieces, so we had a 9 feet solid single piece of quartz. We only paid for the fabrication and installed the dang thing ourselves. The wife is truly a rock star. Fits like a glove. They did a great job on cutting it to our dimensions. There is about 1.5 centimeter overhang. Just love the clean lines in contrast with the rough natural stone. Has a mix of gray hues to match the stones. Level as can be. Once again testing the strength of the mantle. Now to finish the rest of the stonework. Kids think they are making batter, but they're learning to make mortar. And that young lady, she just loves wearing her dress for any building project. And after several minutes, finally got the batter to the consistency that will hold up the stone. Now cutting the tiling by far was the most arduous task. It mattered where the panels were cut. in order to split the stone to have enough stones on either side. Also, we decided midway to make the corners mitered. Thus we saw this towel blade from Harbor Freight. This beauty is a workhorse. We initially bought corner pieces but discovered this was so easy to cut and the stones appeared more aesthetically pleasing and more natural looking compared to the ones that were already pre-cut. You see how they fit perfectly? It looks like one solid piece. Once the stones were cut, it was simply a matter of backburdering the stone and putting it on the backer board and making sure to level the pieces as it went up. Decided not to cover the entire fireplace, especially the middle, as it didn't make any sense because our TV, which is 82 inches, will cover the back, and the stones near the center would make it harder to access the wires in the back. And we finally returned to the main attraction, which is our fireplace. This is an electric fireplace from Touchstone. The last time we had this inserted was when it was being framed. Now we have the backer board on top of it. This is our first test fit. Great thing about this product is it just plug and play out of the box. It can either be hardwired or 110 volt plug-in. They even have leveling legs on the bottom in case your build was not as leveled. And here's the moment of truth. It was just a tad bit tight, but we managed to finagle it in. And as before, it's only held securely to the frame with 6 screws. And just turning it on. The orange flames are probably the realest I've seen. Some of its competitors have a stencil-like flame pattern that looks unnatural. So every 2 seconds you see a pattern. This has a random flame pattern, and from afar you can't tell whether or not this is electric, which is what I love most about it. Now testing out the remote control, very sleek. It comes with batteries, so everything's ready to go. Several settings, the heat output, the dimmer, as well as the timer. Making sure my height to the mantle was okay. It is about 8 inches, but more than 2 feet from the bottom of the TV. The minimum space for a TV is about 12 inch. We made the cutout for the glass insert a little bit higher in order to have an option of taking out the full lock set in favor of the modern crystals that were provided. Here the kids are testing the fireplace after school. As you can see, cool to the touch, very safe compared to other fireplaces and heating source. It's very energy efficient. It says only pennies to run every hour, and no venting needed like the gas fireplaces. I feel comfortable with the kids turning this fireplace on. We have a 15 amp circuit breaker. After plugging this, there have been no issues with shorting. I used green painter's tape to protect the glass. As I mentioned before, the fireplace is approximately 6 inches off the hearth, which is the same measurement as the stone panel, to avoid any unnecessary cuts. And finally, done with the stonework. As you can see, I left a little bit of a gap so that we can put the glass frame up and down. Now just adding white caulking to the top to seal any gaps. And there's the electrical plug-in, the accessory cutouts, all dark so you can't see what's behind it, and the future 7.1 surround sound. And finally, time for the TV from Samsung. Now instead of throwing away all the stones, we added more stones to the left side of the fireplace. But like I said, this 82 inch TV is so massive, it spans 72 inches from side to side. So most of the stones will be covered by the TV anyways. We got absolutely the best deal at Costco for this model and size. We went with the 82 inch because our living space is about 25 to 30 feet. And so if you stand from that distance, the TV actually looks fairly small. If you see my previous videos, you'll note this is the same step for lifting up this 100-pound TV as it was for lifting the backboard for the basketball goal. We ended up ditching the previous TV mount for a full motion mount just because it was easy to move the TV in and out if we ever wanted to access behind the TV. So this is a little bit harder than what it should have been had we had the full motion mount. But slowly and carefully lifting it up one by one and using the ladder to support the load. And now for the moment of truth. Will the TV mount support the TV? Like I said before, we had to change from a fixed mount to a full motion mount, and it holds the TV perfectly. And the kids declared a movie night the next night. This is what our family movie night looks like. The kids prefer laying on the shag. Why?
Because it's so comfortable.
And without further ado, here's a video tour of our finished project. So we have mood lighting,
We also have a mantle,
shag rug, fireplace,
shiplap crown molding,
and an 82-inch Qled TV.
along with the fireplace 72-inch. Here is our backyard. We have a sports court and our pool. If it's a nice day outside, we love going out there.
And just look at the paint job on the shiplap. Now I've seen some other videos on the mantle build. They look like they distressed the wood. Now who in their right mind would hurt a perfectly good cut wood, son?
Yeah.
And here's our crown molding. Can you even see where the joints are?
Nope.
Yeah, so the
Just looks
paint
like
job, it looks like one solid 30 feet piece.
If you like this video, please like and subscribe for future videos. Thanks, Cali, Boud.